beautiful people, and happy Friday. If you are watching on Friday, welcome in. We are here to go over the Valley. I am a little bit late. Apologies again to anybody new to the channel or who has missed some of the intros to the channel. I am working full-time, but also doing school full-time with graduate school. So my sincerest apologies for being late. James is also missing in action. He should be returning to YouTube shortly. So I encourage everyone to see the link in the description of this video to subscribe to his channel. Check out his channel. He may be live shortly. He's been having surgery and dealing with that. Anywho's, let's get into reunion part 2. This would be a very fast live just because I feel like I'm sick of Brittany. She's childish and stupid in my opinion. I get that Jax treated her wrong, but it just seems like she used the reunion as a way to expose him or make him look bad on TV. And I don't think she realizes it makes herself look bad. In my opinion, there are women going through worse. I can't. I feel like just because she's colorless, she's getting like way more sympathy. But I do like her new blonde hair. I did see that, and I think it's cute on her. But we pick up with Jax and his sobriety. Jax lets everybody know he's been sober for 156 days. He's also been in AA. You know, I respect Jax for the progress he's made. I think we should always celebrate the wins of people who struggle with sobriety, substance use, any of those things. If they are sober, we should celebrate it. However, this fool has done this song and dance before, so I'm kind of over it. I can't really believe Jax when he says it, especially when you're saying you're in AA. You've been sober 156 days, but you still own a bar. So I'm like, I'm happy he's sober, but I'm like, if you want to maintain your sobriety, maybe let the people who like do the business of the bar do that and just be the face of it and nothing else. That's just how I feel. But he does admit to everything that Brittany accuses him of. And I don't feel the need to go through it. I feel like the colorless community is like, oh my gosh, someone did this to someone. People go through far worse in relationships. Yes, he's a narcissist, but Brittany knew it when she got with him, still chose to deal with him, and now wants us to feel sorry for her because she's no longer doing lines with him when she was before. So I just get divorced and shut up about it. I'm sick of them. But Janet's pet decides that he's going to defend Jax against Brittany because in Jason's mind, Jax is not a bad person, even though it comes out that he has pushed his wife into a rose bush of some sort, assaulted her. Sounds like he was very violent, and Brittany may have been dealing with some type of domestic violence. Jason is so kind to Jax, though, but has all the smoke for Danny, which we'll get to later. But that just irked me. And I'm like, why are you defending this man who's done this to his wife and kid? And then you think that anybody's going to respect your opinion elsewhere. Like Jason is, I feel bad for whoever he counsels as an attorney. I really, really do. But Jason wants us to be proud of Jax's progress. Okay, Jason. Figure out why you married Voldemort. Figure out why her eyeballs are sunken into her head. Figure it all out. Figure out the Adderall. Please figure it out. But we then learned that Jax has been diagnosed as being bipolar multiple times off camera, which kind of brings a little bit of credibility to it because I feel like he's always saying he has this issue and I don't know why I'm so angry and this is the root of this and that. And then you kind of think like you have to have some type of diagnosis. No one just acts like this. And he does. But Brittany's kind of trying to discredit his diagnosis. And in my opinion, Brittany, I really don't feel sorry for you because in addition to knowing how he was in relationships, which is terrible, you also watched him be diagnosed more than once as bipolar. I feel like if he's not taking his medicine, hold him accountable for that. And if he still doesn't take it and becomes angry, then leave. But she's making it seem like all of this behavior from him was just behaviors when it sounds like he had a legit substance abuse issue and coupled in with a mental health diagnosis. So I feel like Brittany needs to just shut the hell up. Like there's women going through this with men who are in their right mind. And to me, that's 10 times worse than somebody who at least can say they're a little screwed. I don't know. Brittany's weird to me. I don't quite get her, but we'll see. But Jax does take accountability and tells Brittany, like, yes, the things I do is a form of control. I need to know what's going on and all of that, which Brittany, you making him go to rehab in order to stay on the show, Brittany controlling how often he sees his child before a court puts a custody agreement into place, or Brittany not wanting Jax's son to be at the house because she doesn't want her son around the girls that he sleeps with, but her son can apparently be around the men that she sleeps with and things like that. Whatever the hell, I think both Jax and Brittany on each side are trying to get control, which is what happens when people, especially couples, break up, argue, things like that. So I'm tired of people acting surprised and appalled at the behavior of Jax Taylor. Like, honestly, what the fuck did they expect bringing him back on TV? He behaved on House of Villains because that was a whole different network and something new. That was really his first return. But to then give him his own show and utilize him and his wife to advertise it because they were the only people we know, of course it's going to go to his head. So I think Jax and Brittany are kind of just douchebags. That's just my personal opinion. But they discussed Jax and Brittany's son and him being on the autism spectrum. She says her son lights her up, but then she also uses her son and his diagnosis, in my opinion, as a weapon. Like, not everything needs to be shared on TV. I thought this was a little bit tacky. Don't be proud to talk about how he has not been there to help with your son and things like that, when he may have been helping in other areas. Like, if you're a married couple and one of you has to work and both of you has to work and somebody has a kid and they have to go somewhere, like, one parent may take them there. My mom took me to most of my doctor's appointments growing up, and I grew up in a 2-parent household. My dad took me places and would pick me up places, but at the time that the appointments were, he was at work. So that doesn't mean that someone's a bad parent. I just feel like, yes, Jax is probably bad. He's probably not the most present parent, but he was there and she didn't have any complaints prior to the divorce. So now suddenly you have all these complaints. I feel like she's making his parenting seem bad because of what they're going through right now, when the reality is it may not be that. He may have been mean to her, but it doesn't seem that way with the kid. But I'm glad they're getting the kids some help. That's a good thing. I thought the way that Brittany spoke about autism was appropriate. She acknowledged that a lot of parents can feel some type of embarrassment or disappointment. She also acknowledged that instead of being in denial and avoiding getting your child tested, just accept it and comply with the early intervention, because the earlier you intervene when it comes to autism and get that behavioral therapy and support going, the less likely it is to heavily impact someone with it throughout life. So I do give Brittany kudos to how she's handling the autism. I think she's a great mom for how she's doing that, and I'm glad she spoke about it. Now we have to move on to the BS, which is Jesse and Michelle. I'm sick of these two also because they're like damn near divorced. We do learn and get more insight into why they're not divorced. I'm on the fence. Like, I don't want Michelle on the show at all. Not because I dislike her, not none of that. I just do not care for Michelle. She's a bore. I think she's a regular person like myself who don't need to be on TV. And nothing's wrong with that. But I also think she's hella bitter for no reason and lacks accountability. Jesse, he's a douchebag. He feels a way about himself. However, he is not really in the wrong with certain things he says. So Jesse says that Michelle has cheated on him. And she did admit it on camera. She says she kissed somebody else. I feel like it was more, though, because ain't nobody not sleeping with their husband for 3 years and not sleeping with somebody else. I don't believe that. Not when you're young. Maybe if you're like older or something, but I don't buy it. I think Michelle got fed up with Jesse, and her, instead of leaving, she cheated, which was stupid. Just leave. That's just my opinion. I'm also unimpressed with the fact that Jesse was sleeping with someone who was married after the marriage ended. Michelle, if he's not with you no more, he could sleep with whoever the fuck he wants. I don't think she realizes that. It's like, okay, you're telling us about something he did with someone who was married after he ended his marriage. Nobody owes nobody shit in the marriage except the people in the marriage. I don't know if people realize that. That's kind of the point of it. The temptation, you're supposed to deny it, all that crap. So I was like, Michelle, can you please miss us with that? And even Andy seemed super annoyed with Michelle and Jesse's segment. He seemed more annoyed with Michelle than him because she brings up like these small, just pointless points that you could tell she's just bringing up because she wants to attack. And I can see why her, Janet, and Brittany are so close. Like, I can understand it because they don't argue with their brains at all. They just bring up shit that they don't like and expect the rest of us to side with them. And it's stupid. But they move on to Kristen, and Kristen's been feeling annoyed with Janet. And Kristen says that Janet acts a different way on the show than she did before she got on camera. And Jesse agreed. He said that Janet was involved with a bunch of shit that had nothing to do with her. And this is where Jason's dumbass gets mad and tries to say that the cast is always talking about his wife. I'm saying you're a terrible lawyer, Jason, because one would argue right back. The cast is always talking about your wife because the bitch don't know how to shut the fuck up, which is the truth. If your wife was not talking so much, then no one would have anything to say about her at all. The most we all liked Janet was in Dave and Buster's because she was quiet. If your wife doesn't get in everyone's business and insert herself, then you wouldn't be accused of not wearing your wedding ring and trying to talk to other people, and then her having to get you to tattoo a thin ass, fake ass ring on your ring finger, which tells me that you do take off that ring and it's been a problem. I'm just saying, like, Jason's too much. Something's really wrong with him. He's just upset that his wife is being attacked. And honestly, I do respect that part because regardless if your spouse is right or wrong, you can check your spouse, but you don't check your spouse in public in front of everybody. You should check them privately. Don't embarrass them in front of other people, making it look like y'all not united. So Jason is doing what he is supposed to do. Even though we don't like Voldemort, that is his wife. He's supposed to defend her. But it doesn't mean anything that he says is right. I wish he would just say, stop talking about my wife, instead of actually trying to like explain her actions without knowing what the fuck is going on. If he watches the show, he'll see that Janet is a problem. He will. But honestly, I question why he even dated her, because her face card is just, it's more than declined. The shit is revoked. But to each his own. Everybody can find love. Hell. So it then comes out that Zach got blackout drunk, and he did say that he wished that Janet miscarried. That's not a good thing to say. I don't think you should ever wish that a child does not make it. However, what did Janet do to Zach to make him feel the need to get so drunk? Because I truly believe a drunken mind is sober thoughts. It's not okay that Zach said that. But I think Janet tries to attack what people have said or done versus looking at what the fuck she did to push them that way. Because you can provoke people. I feel like Janet is a mastermind manipulator, and she thrives on provoking people and then playing victim. Colorless women like her are literally the problem in America right now. But we're not going to get into all of that. I will digress. But it's just weird. But, you know, even Andy made the comment to Janet, like, we've seen Zach apologize. What the hell? Why are you still talking about it, Janet? Which is the same thing with Danny. He's apologized. Janet's still talking about it. Zach apologized. Janet's still talking about it. Kristen apologized. Janet was still talking about it. Stop asking for fucking apologies if you're not going to accept them. Just be done with people. But I feel like Janet is doing this intentionally to be relevant on the show. Truly, I do. Because she has nothing else. She's not interesting. And the only part about her that's interesting is that marriage. Because I know that there's a lot of bullshit going on in that marriage. And I think, this is my opinion, my alleged opinion, I can see Jason going to bars that would be in the Castro neighborhood of San Francisco's, if y'all catch what I'm trying to throw. That's all I'm saying. Hi, Mrs. Moncrief. She said, hey, lady, the Valley girls are swinging those polyester paints hat. Jason, itching and ready to fight. Jason did look very, I didn't like his updo, but I feel like with the men, they can only wear so much. But Kristen is our MVP of the Valley. I saw someone online say that the Valley is Kristen's like redemption arc. I agree. Because Kristen was a young fool on Vanderpump Rules. I think she learned from her mistakes. Jax, on the other hand, I actually think he was racist and meant what the hell he said. But with Kristen, I'm here for it. I'm not happy Sheena's coming back. We're going to be annoyed, but I'm not surprised. Sheena is desperate for attention. She went and bought a house in the Valley. Like, girl, you'll never grow and elevate if you just keep running back to the same show. But that's another topic, y'all. That's another topic. So Janet says she can move forward if she knows she's not going to be trashed 24/7. Again, why the fuck does everybody else have to do the work? If you don't want to be trashed by people, then don't talk shit. Then when people trash you, the audience, people watching will feel bad. Janet's not intelligent. She's not. She thinks she is because her husband's an attorney. But just because your husband's an attorney doesn't make you intelligent. She actually reminds me of a young Erica Girardi. For those who watch The Housewives of Beverly Hills, your husband can be the most educated man on the planet. That doesn't mean you are. Hell, the heck? I cannot. So Michelle thinks that Zach is jealous of Brittany. She talks. She actually says something, y'all. Michelle talked. I was like, oh my gosh, she speaks. But she thinks that Zach is jealous of Brittany and Janet. And I think everyone laughed because don't nobody want to look or be shaped like Brittany. She looked like she got a condition in the face. And as for Janet, I don't want to be jealous of any woman that has to go and make her husband get a wedding ring tattooed on his ring finger, even though he already has a wedding ring. That screams insecure. That to me, that's like those couples that have those joint Facebook accounts and Instagram pages. I worked with a guy. Sorry, Rico, whatever. But I worked with a guy years ago. He had a joint Facebook page with his girlfriend. And they had all sorts of problems. So I was like, oh, whenever I see stuff like that, I'm like, okay, this just screams red flag. Like, and it's funny that Janet and them did not understand how bad that looked. But Zach says that Janet hates when Brittany hangs out with Zach, which I believe. And apparently Janet made Brittany take down a birthday post that she made to Zach or somebody because Janet felt like it was disrespectful. I said, why do you care who your friends say happy birthday to? Like, as quiet as it's kept, once you over 25, unless it's somebody who like got your kids taken away, stole your money, fucked your man, like it's really not that deep. If you don't interrupt my money, put my safety at risk, or play with my family or kids, I'm not going to have that energy. Like, that was weird that Janet wanted to do that. It made her look bad. Even Andy was like, do you not see the issue in that? Like, everything that they said, there were receipts for. They backed each other up. Like, Janet is clearly the one that is the problem, but I don't think she'll ever admit it. Like, she's not going to take responsibility or accountability for anything. And Jason's going to defend her, which is good. You and your husband, it can be y'all against the world off my fucking TV, because I don't care for these people, but you know, we'll see. Now we come back to Michelle and Jesse. And Andy asked about the gay guy that allegedly zelled Jesse money. Is this really what the fuck we have to talk about? Again, who cares? And then it comes out that this is a friend of a friend of them when they were a couple. So Michelle is throwing her friend under the bus just so that she could come at her ex. If you so happy with the next nigga, why are you so worried about who's sending him money if it's not your problem anymore? I just can't understand Michelle. Like, she can go, and honestly, Jesse can go too. I don't think they fit the show. Like, Jesse's okay, but when you take away Michelle and the drama, I just don't think that he's someone that would be interesting or relevant enough. I feel like he would be good for Jax because I think Jesse is older, but I don't need him. He can go. Jax and Jesse and they raggedy ass boys chat. I don't like that. But we finally move on to meat and potatoes, as James would call it, and they go to Danny and they ask how is it that everybody is talking to Jax about his struggles, but silent? and silent, but they want to come at Danny super hard. And Jax does apologize to Danny, even though the apology was some bullshit. Jax clearly said, I want to come after Danny. I want to take him down. Why would anybody be upset that someone they care about is getting a good edit? Why would you want someone you care about to look bad? So I think Jax is just showing his character along with Voldemort, her helper, and Michelle. Like, I can't. I just cannot. But Jax did apologize. I will acknowledge that. And Nia says that Jax said he did not like Danny's edit, season 1, and felt that Danny got a better edit than him. And Jax felt he should have had the better edit because apparently it's his show. People let fame get to their head. Like, unless you are an executive producer, signed paperwork, like you came to the network with the idea of the show, it's not your fucking show. You're an employee like the rest of us. Jax was on TV for many years and barely got this bar, so I just wish he wouldn't. But I like that Nia finally like came for it. And I don't know if anybody noticed Zach in the corner. Zach's side comments were everything. Jax apologized and Zach said, fakest apology ever. He was in the corner having a whole key with himself, and I was here for it. I loved it. Because somebody has to point out the bullshit that is Jax, Janet, and her helper. I wanted to say her puppet, but that I like puppets. I do. I don't want to insult puppets. But they asked Danny about hiding his drinking, and he says what I said a while ago. If you make someone's drinking a thing, even if it's not a thing, and they have something to lose, especially in LA where his reputation is everything, he works a job as a voice actor, unlike the rest of them. He was okay, and Neil was okay before this doggone show. He said he admits to hiding his drinking because he knew that the group was coming for him, which he did. If someone's coming for you and attacking your drinking and you want to drink and enjoy yourself, you're not going to do it in front of them. So they bullied this man into feeling like he has to hide something, which I don't like at all. Jason chimes in, and Jason was like unusually angry. It was like his teeth wanted to like come through the TV and chomp us all down. I didn't understand Jason's anger because nothing happened to them. None of this had anything to do with him. Like, Jason is the one person, like, he just really should not have anything to do with it. But Jason says the issue was not the drinking. It was him taking accountability. You were asking someone to admit that they're an alcoholic when, one, you're not a fucking substance abuse counselor. You shouldn't be doing that at all. 2, they don't fuck with you that tough anyway. And 3, who the fuck are you that someone has to admit to you that they're an alcoholic? It's not your wife. Worry about that wedding ring. That's what Jason should worry about. So I get what Jason's saying, like, be accountable, but it wasn't denied. He's held accountable by the cameras. The fact that they feel they have to go a step further and do all of this was weird. Jason asked if anybody can articulate what Janet has done, right? And people start to articulate it. Nia starts and points out that Janet continues on when everybody was done with things and says that her and her husband got thrown into some stuff because Janet had an issue with Kristen and them, which is true. Nia and Danny are attacked solely because I believe Janet had an issue with somebody else and Kristen defended them. So I'm just like, what is this? Like, and Janet forgets that. Like, you came for these people for no reason. For no reason. Bravo can release all of the footage. I highly doubt anybody is working harder than Janet to try and be relevant because no one has to. Nia was Miss America. Danny has a job in Hollywood. Brittany and Jax was relevant. Michelle and Jesse can fall back on real estate. Janet's husband is an attorney. Luke don't even want to be in California, for those who know and watch season 1. And Jax is just trying to figure out how he can lie his way into his next television contract. So the only person who has the time to be this messy is truly Janet. Because hell, Jasmine, we know, got a job. And Zach is running around between here and Canada trying to keep up with Benji. So no, Janet is just a miserable human. Mrs. Moncrief said, and then Brittany throwing that rock at Danny and then hiding her hand. That, Janet, you know, essay allegations on a clear woman's lips are dangerous. That's right. And that's the part that Janet did not catch when Jasmine called her a Karen, because she does give Karen energy. You're making all these accusations and trying to hold everybody accountable. And as a white woman, that's dangerous because you can really come for somebody. And we have to remember, I believe Nia is Hispanic or something like that. So I don't know. Janet's a mess. I can't. She's the one person here that's just irrelevant, though. She just is. But after Nia points out everything, basically, Nia said in a polite way, Janet, mind your motherfucking business. And Jason and them, they got a little quiet because it's like Nia didn't tell any lies. And it's interesting how upset Jason gets at Nia defending her husband. As Jason sits here attacking women as a whole man, bitch made man, but a man as a whole, attacking and arguing with women, constantly jumping into women's beefs. At least Danny don't argue with women. At least he said she's evil, the devil, or whatever he said when Janet was saying he SA'd somebody. At least he walked away. Jason and Jax are the only men on the couch and on this cast that are willing to argue with women. Mind you, there's a whole gay man, and people love to say gay men will argue with women. Not always true. Not always true. Whether you gay, straight, or anything, if you a man arguing with a woman, to me, you a bitch. That's just how I feel. If you're not dating her, you look a little crazy. But apparently Jason doesn't understand these things at all. So Danny explains he was blackout drunk. Jasmine tries to say, when talking about like the apology, that Danny did not reach out. But then Nia explained that he did reach out immediately after, and that Danny has the text. See, what Nia did is what any wife does. When somebody's coming for somebody you care about, you're going to do your research and you're going to prepare. That's what Jason should have done. That's what attorneys are supposed to do, sir. Yet he doesn't. Nia went and said, let me see your text. Let me see your phone. Because unlike Janet and Jason, Nia can do that. And she said, oh, you got the text? Cool. She said, we could show it to you. I loved it. Because she was not here for it. And when she said she had the text, Jasmine got real quiet and then agreed that her and Danny were good. Because Danny kept saying, but I thought we were good. And Jasmine was trying to have like the argument of, I was pissed off that Danny felt like, why is this being brought up and this and that? No, bitch. If he did that after you tried to talk to him initially, you'd have a point. But when you tell someone that you accept their apology and that you're good, and then you hang out with them, which he pointed out because she tried to lie and say, I haven't seen you since filming. And he was like, bitch, that ain't true. Jasmine, you're wrong. You got your apology. Now move the fuck on. And if you're not going to move on, then choose not to deal with him. But you're not going to keep getting apologies, but he keeps giving them, which is nice. And now she's trying to say the apology felt like shit. Jasmine, where are your black friends? I'm not saying nothing's wrong with having friends like this. I went to private school because I grew up in Oakland and it was just better that way. So I had a lot of colorless friends myself, but I also got a lot of friends of color. Jasmine, I don't trust people like her. I just don't trust Jasmine. Like, something about her is off to me. And she did seem very thirsty for a moment and to stay relevant. I feel like Jasmine, Janet, Jasmine, Janet, Brittany, Jax, I feel like they got together and Jesse and like had a plan to do this to maybe keep their show going, because Jax probably got them all paranoid from how he and Kristen were fired for many years. But it looks like this was definitely planned. And whenever people start to do shit like this, it takes away the authenticity of the show. And now you're adding Miss Good as Gold, who can't afford the actual gold, to the show, which is going to make it even faker. I can't. Miss Moncrief said Jasmine wanted on camera. Yeah, she wanted camera time. That was clear, because I'm like, he apologized to you. Even Andy Cohen is like, you got your apology. Then Jasmine's like, but it felt like shit. And you haven't continued to apologize. And everyone's like, he has continued to apologize and he says he will. And she just sat there looking defeated. Like, why are you defeated over an apology? Why did you propose to your girlfriend? Because your girlfriend always looked tired of you. Jasmine needs to come up off this TV, go sell some houses and figure out some things. That's what I think she should do, but she won't listen to me. Now, Jason is upset by Danny and Nia because Nia was defending them. Danny and Nia have done nothing to Jason or Janet. They have literally defended themselves. They had nothing to do with this beef from jump. So I feel like Jason forgets this. I'm not going to go in circles with it. But I see now that Janet and Jason, I see why they planned their vacation. Even though they swear they didn't run off, she made her profile private and went to Switzerland during the episode that she made the sexual assault comment. And then she says, oh, it's just a vacation. Y'all was on vacation through the reunion, all of that, so she don't got to face nobody. I think Janet knows she ain't shit. I think she does. Most people who aren't shit know they're not shit. They'll never admit to you that they're not shit, but they ain't shit. And how kind and agreeable and easy it is for Janet and Jason to get along with Jax. Birds of a feather flock together. Narcissist, narcissist, narcissist. They're all narcissists. They just seem that way. But Jasmine expresses that she was bothered by Danny making comments, that she kept bringing things up. And, you know, this reunion, I could see Andy Cohen annoyed, but I feel like Bravo won't allow him to treat this cast the way he allows him to treat certain housewives. I don't want Janet to come back. This is like far beyond controversy. When people start making accusations of SA, I think that's a big deal. It's an insult to actual victims of SA when the network chooses to keep people on who are making like baseless accusations. Danny and Nia, I want them to stop being so fucking nice and do something. I know we have one more part to this reunion, but Danny and Nia should never speak to them again. This is unforgivable. If somebody accuses my husband of SA, and I know for a fact he has not done that, I wouldn't film with them. I'd say, fuck the show. Why would, that's a big deal. That follows you in the regular world. That follows you in background checks, from something as simple as trying to get some food stamps to something as small as getting a job at Target. Like, I don't like how Bravo's not taking this accusation seriously. When the reality of, I saw someone make a comment online that could have been true. Danny did admit to being on antibiotics when drinking, which makes it 10 times worse than it should. He could have very well confused Jasmine's girlfriend, Melissa, who he touched, for his girl. He could have. People be drunk, you never know. But to call him an alcoholic and then accuse him of SA is just a bit much. They could have just came for Danny and kept the dark side Danny and things like that when he drank. But to say full-blown alcoholic and SA, that's where they fucked with the church's money. They shouldn't have done that. And I wish that Janet and Jason would take accountability. But honestly, y'all, we know they're not. We know that they're not. I don't need to see part 3 of the reunion to know they're not. But that's all I have to say. I would love to hear everybody's opinion. I appreciate those who are here watching. I hope that you guys liked the video. If you liked what I had to say, anybody watching when we're no longer live, replay gang, please comment your opinions as well. I am always in the chat, even when we are not live. I'm going to try and get another live done tonight. I'm not sure. We will see. James said something about potentially going live, but he's in a lot of pain. He had surgery just last week. But I have spoken to James. He does appreciate all of the people who have wished him well in his healing and sent prayers. I actually think y'all are keeping him going somewhat. So thank you for that. But I will see y'all on the next live. There'll be music reactions happening also. And love and light. Goodbye. Thank you.